If you told me a year ago that my husband would betray me, I might have believed it. Men make mistakes. But if you told me he'd betray me with my own mother, I would have laughed in your face. That's the kind of thing that happens in soap operas, not real life. But real life, I've learned, can be crueler than any fiction. It started like any normal day. Ethan, my husband of 7 years, was bustling around the kitchen, telling me about his latest work project while I sipped my coffee. My mom, Susan, had been staying with us for a few weeks while her place was being renovated. She'd always been close to Ethan, maybe too close, but I never thought anything of it. She'd always been the kind of mom who flirted harmlessly with waiters and called my husband handsome with a wink. I thought it was just her way of showing affection. Then, one night, I came home early from work. I'd forgotten my phone charger and rushed back to grab it. I was halfway down the hall when I heard laughter, hers and his, coming from the living room. I slowed my steps, hoping I was imagining the tension that now felt like a living thing in the air. When I reached the doorway, I saw them on the couch, heads close together, her hand resting on his thigh in a way that made my stomach twist. "Sarah!" Mom exclaimed, jumping up like a teenager caught at a house party. Ethan's face went pale. "We were just," she started, but her voice cracked. Ethan opened his mouth to explain, but the words didn't come. My vision blurred, and for a moment I thought I might pass out. I dropped my charger on the floor and backed away, my heart thudding so loud it drowned out their excuses. I felt like the world was spinning, like everything I thought I knew had shattered. My mother, my husband, my family. That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Ethan's muffled apologies echoing through the walls. But I couldn't listen. My trust had been broken in a way I never imagined possible, and I knew I couldn't stay silent. I needed the truth, no matter how much it hurt. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my coffee cup, like it held all the answers I needed. Ethan hovered by the counter, avoiding my eyes, his hands trembling as he tried to make breakfast. The smell of scrambled eggs turned my stomach. I couldn't eat. Every time I looked at him, I saw my mother's hand on his thigh, her smile that used to make me feel safe, now twisted into a betrayal I couldn't comprehend. "Sarah, please," Ethan said finally, his voice cracking. "It's not what you think. It was just a moment, a stupid mistake." I felt like the air had been sucked from the room. "A moment?" I spat, my voice trembling. "A moment doesn't look like that. A moment doesn't destroy a marriage." I wanted to believe him, to believe it was just a fleeting mistake. But deep down, I knew. It wasn't just a moment. I'd seen the way they looked at each other, like they shared a secret, a private joke that I wasn't a part of. My mother, my own mother, the woman who'd raised me, who'd held me through every heartbreak, who'd promised me that no man was worth my tears. How could she be the one to break me? That afternoon, I drove to my mother's house, her temporary apartment, my heart pounding in my chest. I wanted answers. I wanted to understand how she could betray her own daughter. When she opened the door, her smile faltered the moment she saw my face. "Sarah, honey," she started, but I held up my hand to stop her. "Don't," I said, my voice shaking. "I saw you. I heard you. How could you?" Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing but emptiness. "I never meant for this to happen," she whispered. "Ethan was lonely and it just happened." I felt like I'd been punched. I wanted to scream, to rage, but no words came. I turned and walked away, her cries following me down the hallway. I didn't look back. That night, I sat alone in my car, the cold air biting my skin, wondering how I could ever trust anyone again. My own mother, my husband, the two people who should have protected me were the ones who'd hurt me the most. After leaving my mother's apartment, I drove aimlessly for hours, the tears blurring streetlights into a smear of pain. I replayed every conversation I'd had with her over the past month, every time she'd smiled at me like nothing was wrong. I wondered how many times she'd sat at my table, drinking my coffee and laughing at my jokes, while all the while she was sneaking around with my husband. The betrayal felt like poison in my veins. When I finally pulled into my driveway, the house looked different, like a stranger's home. I sat in the car for a long time, staring at the front door, the porch light casting shadows that felt heavy with lies. I didn't want to go inside. I didn't want to see Ethan's face or hear his apologies that meant nothing, but I couldn't hide forever. I stepped inside to find Ethan sitting on the couch, his head in his hands. He looked up as I entered, his eyes red-rimmed and hollow. "Sarah," he whispered, like my name was an apology in itself. I didn't respond. I walked past him, the air between us thick with everything unsaid. I went to our bedroom, the place that had once felt safe, and closed the door behind me. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, remembering the day Ethan proposed. We'd been at a park, and he'd fumbled the ring, dropping it into the grass. We laughed so hard, tears streaming down our faces. It felt like a lifetime ago. I'd thought he was my forever. Now, I didn't even know who he was. A knock on the door broke my thoughts. "Sarah, please, can we talk?" His voice trembled, but I couldn't bring myself to care. I opened the door just enough to see his face, pale, desperate, but no longer familiar. "Talk?" I said, my voice cold. "About how you and my mother destroyed everything I thought I knew?" His face crumpled, but I held my ground. "It didn't mean anything," he said. "It was a mistake. I love you, Sarah." I shook my head, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. "Love? You don't betray someone you love. You don't sleep with their mother." He reached for me, but I stepped back. "Please, Sarah," he begged. "Don't let this end us." I felt a strength I didn't know I had. "It already ended us, Ethan. You ended us the moment you chose her over me." His tears did nothing for me. I turned away, my heart heavy but resolute. I deserved better than this, and I'd find it, no matter how long it took. That night, I packed a small suitcase with trembling hands. Every shirt, every pair of jeans felt like a reminder of a life that no longer belonged to me. The home I'd built with Ethan, the place that had felt safe and full of love, now felt like a house of mirrors, every corner reflecting a lie I couldn't unsee. I called Mia, my best friend, and she picked up on the first ring. "I'm coming over," she said, no questions asked. When she arrived, she hugged me so tight I thought I might break, but instead, I felt like I could finally breathe. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, eyes full of worry. I nodded, tears pooling but not falling. "I have to be," I whispered. "I can't stay in a place where every glance feels like a betrayal." Mia helped me load my bag into her car. As we pulled out of the driveway, I glanced at the house one last time. Ethan stood in the doorway, his shoulders slumped, eyes red and pleading. Part of me wanted to run back, to fix everything, to believe his tears, but I knew better now. Tears couldn't wash away a betrayal this deep. We drove to Mia's apartment, the city lights blurring past the window. She made me tea and let me talk until the sun came up. I told her everything, every hidden touch, every lie, every time I'd ignored my gut. "Sarah," she said softly, "you are stronger than you know. You'll get through this." In the days that followed, I met with a lawyer, started looking for a place of my own, and blocked Ethan's number. It wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to pick up the phone, to hear his voice, to believe the words he'd always said to me, "I love you." But now I understood that love without respect, without loyalty, wasn't love at all. I also blocked my mother's number. I couldn't bear to hear her voice, her apologies, her excuses. She'd crossed a line I couldn't forgive. Maybe someday I'd find the strength to face her again, but for now, I needed to heal. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know when the pain will fade. But I do know this: I am not the broken pieces they left behind. I am the woman who chose herself. And I will rise from this, stronger, wiser, and determined never to let anyone treat me like that again.